Hello, so today's video is about controlling vices and understanding vices. I've just looked at a very interesting study. It just came out on the fortune.com website. Basically, it's a 30-year study exploring the benefits of drinking alcohol and trying to see if there is any benefits for certain age groups and so on. So basically, the main line from the study is that there is no benefit for anyone from the ages of 0 to 45. There is basically no benefit whatsoever from drinking any amount of alcohol, and more than 1 unit per week is detrimental to your health, detrimental to your mental capacity, detrimental to basically, all the things we've heard before. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't drink alcohol. I'm not saying that it's something that you shouldn't enjoy. I am saying that when you look at the statistics, especially some of the studies that have come out lately, and this one in particular, that there's just no reason, there's no good reason to do it in an excessive way. I'm totally up for enjoying yourself and all that, but if you're not in control of your vices, if you're not in control of these things that will lead to damage down the line, then you're obviously just asking for disaster, and you're basically becoming a degenerate by default. So if you're aware of that and you don't want to be a degenerate, it obviously is very powerful to understand statistics like this. The interesting thing about the statistic is about this study is that they took people from all around the world. They have a very long list. I'm not going to read it out. There's literally 10 scrolls worth of people, organizations, colleges, universities, study groups, think tanks from every single continent. Probably, I think it says 126 countries. It's in the hundreds anyway. 100 and something countries took part in this study over 30 years, and they tracked a lot of data. I'm going to just bring it up now, up on screen. So this is very interesting. The study, which has been published in the Lancet Medical Journal, I'll leave a link in the description, says that people aged between 15 and 39, the recommended amount of alcohol that could be consumed before risking their health was a little more than 1/10 of a standard drink. So basically, it's nothing. It's not even a drink. And what they're saying is you could drink that much and it might be beneficial for mental health and stuff, but obviously that amount isn't going to do anything for people from a mental health point of view. It's just it's such a small amount. They're basically saying don't drink any alcohol at all. And then they have quite interesting charts where they've tracked the likelihood of someone contracting or dying from specific diseases such as cardiovascular disease, stroke, and diabetes. And they show people who are not drinking alcohol versus people who are, and you can see that the curve just goes up. So I'm assuming what they're saying here is you're much likely to die of an unnatural death, like a car crash or a murder or something, which is very unlikely these days if you don't drink alcohol. But if you do drink alcohol, you're much more likely to die of something like a heart attack, an infection, and so on and so on. The study concluded that there was no safe limit of amount of alcohol you drink for brain health. Maybe when you're over 45, a small amount is beneficial. There are antioxidants, obviously, in red wine and stuff. That's what people always say, that red wine has got some level of health. But I'm sure you can get antioxidants from other things. But yeah, the very interesting thing here is this chart. I'm going to bring it up on screen. So you see in the left margin, say the first box, top left, you have female global proportion of dailies associated with each cause percentage. So from right to left is the amount of alcohol that's drunk. So you can see that in the left, when you drink less alcohol, you're more likely to die from injuries, which is just kind of this pale pink. Then you got infectious diseases, which is the darker one, and other causes. So injury seems to be the main killer there. So and as you move to the right, and the more alcohol you consume, the one that comes up is heart disease and stroke. That's this darker green. So clearly showing us that there's a strong correlation. Males, the exact same. And then it breaks it down into the different regions. I think this is a really, really valuable bit of data. Now, I might be interpreting some of this slightly wrong, but I think that's the general gist of it. It really is an amazing piece of data to have and to understand. And this is one of my other theories, is this average out theory. If you understand the things that are detrimental in life, and you work around them, you work to avoid the easy things that will kind of damage your life, make you degenerate over time, then as an average, you're going to really have a much better life expectancy. Obviously, I mean, now if everyone in the population were to do this, it would work out well as an average. Obviously, for an individual, you can never really tell what's going to happen, but you give yourself the best possible chance of doing well. And so this is just an alcohol study. Obviously, it's probably going to see very similar statistics with drug use, bad food, the wrong kinds of food, eating the wrong kinds of way, leading to diabetes, etc. All sorts of different vices, and being in a position to control yourself with these vices is not that easy. So I guess the recommendation I have for some people is, if they don't have a strong mindset yet, if they don't have a very grounded sense of how they can react in certain situations, I would probably suggest to just avoid these. Now, I know that's difficult for some people, but in the long term, it will be worth it. There's so many people that I've seen online, and some older people that I know as well, who say that they just wish they hadn't, drunk as much in their younger years. They should have really been developing themselves. I mean, people start drinking a lot basically in some of their prime years, especially for men. It's like in the years before your prime, where you're really trying to like build up your muscle and stuff. You're trying to build up your life. If you're just messing about drinking, not only are you missing out on the gains you could have had in the future, like you could have had a better body, etc., you're also degenerating your future health as well, and you're developing these bad habits which you're going to carry on through your life. So obviously, if it's a bit like a cigarette smoker, if you start smoking when you're young, you're always going to be a cigarette smoker to a degree. You might be able to quit, but the likelihood that you go back is a lot stronger than someone who's never smoked before in their life. So like when you reach 40, 50, all of that damage from back in the day is still there, and if you do pick it up again, you're going to have a similar curve where you're literally going, this low chance of having a death by injury, then turning right up to probably a death by heart stroke or something like that. I mean, most deaths in America, I think, are by heart problems. So that's correlated with obesity as well, and eating bad food. And they often say that they don't know why these heart problems occur because there's such a wide range. But this is like obviously an amalgamation of why. I mean, literally, it's almost completely diet related. If you include alcohol as part of your diet, which you probably shouldn't. It's more like, it should be viewed as a drug, in my opinion. It's not viewed as a drug in any country, as far as I know. Maybe in some of the Arab nations, but even there they drink sometimes. So, yeah, I think it's not really understood completely. The negative effects of all of this. I know people kind of understand it. It's a bit like kids being told not to smoke when they're young, and yet loads will still go and smoke to their detriment. And you find it is to their detriment. And if they want to do it, grand. I just think that for people who want to live a better, longer life, that's not what you should be doing. Definitely not. It's really the wrong thing. And it's not like a guy who gets drunk every weekend. He's a bit of a disgrace too, to be honest. Like, I mean, he's not really a proper man. Someone who gets drunk regularly, comes home at like a bad hour, is in a state, isn't in control of his actions or thoughts in the moment. Like, that's not a man. Like, a man is always in control of himself. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's about. Like, a true man wouldn't ever put himself in a position where his mind is compromised in any sort of way, or his ability over his body is compromised. Like, no real man would do that, in my opinion. Or shouldn't do it. Like, it's a standard that we should have in our society, in my opinion. When we consider, like, over the years, I understood back in the day, ale, for example, was a nutritious beverage. It would last long. It would last longer than milk. It would carry calories for you through the winter. So yeah, back then maybe I would have understood. I would have had a little bit of understanding. Yeah, you would drink ale. You would drink wine, especially when you were back in times when we didn't have access to like the wide range of products we have now, and the secure food supply. Back then, it made a lot more sense to drink alcohol. But nowadays, like, where is the benefit? Like, when you break it down rationally, the benefit is so slim. Like, at best, it's a social benefit. It's like a social lubricant. But if you train yourself, if you practice, being comfortable in social situations, this is something you can improve on. It's something that I'm getting better and better at, in my opinion. Like, I go out with my friends at night. I would be one of the guys who isn't drinking, but I feel like I'm having probably as good a time as the others, simply because I am a little bit more conscious, but I can still enjoy kind of the wildness of it all. I don't need as it were like a social lubricant to enjoy myself, and that should be a standard I think that we should all have. Like, I mean, it isn't at the end of the day the alcohol that we're there for each other. So like, if it will be just yourself drinking a bottle of alcohol, it will be the saddest thing ever. But just because we're all together, it kind of like comes across as like this acceptable situation. And in my opinion, it's just kind of a standard we have that we should probably change if you want to improve our health and improve our life setup and improve our just improve everything in our lives long term. That kind of needs to go in society. Now, I know people don't like the sound of that. It is what it is. The stats are there. An alcoholic is going to die younger probably. It's a bit like what they say with a cigarette smoker. If a cigarette smoker says to you at 80, look, I'm smoking fags since I was 20. Look at me, I'm alive, I'm 80, I'm healthy. Yeah, but where are all your friends? All your cigarette smoking friends? They're all dead. So, he will be the exception to the rule. Definitely controlling your vices is something that controlling the vices in this world is definitely something that benefits us. If you're someone who has an extremely good mindset, extremely high level of self-control, then you can start perhaps enjoying alcohol. You could even almost enjoy smoking cigars and stuff if you understood that you were powerful enough in your mind to just take one and that's it. Don't know many people who can do that. Don't know many people who are at that level. I certainly wouldn't be. Like, I think to take an addictive substance and then to be able to be strong enough in the mind to say no to more of it is a very, very small percentage of people at the moment. And even then, like, what's the point? You're just setting an example to other people that it's okay. I mean, if they see you smoke that one cigar a month or drink that one, whatever, like, load of alcohol once per month, if that's all they see of you, then they think, oh, that's all he's doing. It's not really the best. It's not really the best example, in my opinion. But obviously, yeah, if it's not going to be detrimental to you long term and you have the mindset for it, then yeah, it's probably okay. But for young guys, you're just going out and getting madly drunk and taking all sorts of substances. What are you doing? Like, I mean, like, do you not value your life at all in any respect? Again, that's just my opinion. It's my understanding of it. Hopefully we don't see many more of these statistics coming out in the future, but of course we will, because it's not going anywhere. It's a huge business. Alcohol is a massive business, a lot of money. In my own country, there's a huge business for it. Our drinks are sold across the world. So, yeah, big business is not gonna just give up all this money for no reason. In the future, I would hope though that we can have social events and stuff where people are more confident. They don't need a social lubricant to have a good time. We'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye out. I have to have my fingers crossed for people that they understand that it's themselves in the long term that really counts. Adding an extra 40 years onto your life because you did the right things when you were younger is invaluable. Like, you can't even put a price on that. Just because you gave up a couple of years, maybe two, it's really 2 or 3 formative years, 18 to 24, somewhere in that region. That's the formative years where you're going to pick up these bad habits or not. So you're literally giving up 4 or 5 years of possibly, yeah, I mean, it could be a fantastic time. 4 years versus like 40 years. Oof. Think about that, I mean, I know which side of the argument I'm on, for sure. Yeah, so hopefully you got something from this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for listening.